Welcome to Hey That's Me, a commentary podcast. I'm Patrick Schuma, and today it's just me again in the intro. Brian's on vacation. He's going to be back very soon, but he is in the episode itself, so all you Brian heads out there are going to get plenty of Brian in the next 35 minutes or so. This is a podcast where we watch movies and television shows and do audio commentaries on them with the people who worked on them who never got to do a chance to do an audio commentary for a DVD or a streaming service or whatever. So you get to hear all the inside scoops on how your favorite things are made. On today's episode, we're watching Abbott Elementary with two of the executive producers, Patrick Schuma and Justin Halpern. We did an episode with them a few weeks back where we watched the Harley Quinn pilot, which was very fun. We did this on the same day. We recorded on the Warner Brothers lot in the Abbott Elementary production offices, which were really cool. You go outside and the set is right there. It's crazy. It's like the outside of the school and stuff where all the buses pull up. It's really wild to walk through because on the show it doesn't feel like it's a back lot. It doesn't feel like it's in Los Angeles, but then you look and you're like, oh, I'm in Philadelphia for this tiny little section of this backlot. The episode we're watching today is season 4, episode 17, Karaoke. It's from season 4, which wrapped up in April 2025, so pretty recently. It's a really funny episode, and I was psyched that this was the one they wanted to watch. Brittany Nichols wrote it, and it's directed by Matthew Pexa. They're going to talk about all this during the episode. But Abbott Elementary, obviously, one of the premier television shows of our day. One of the most popular, celebrated, talked about shows of the last few years. And these guys are some of the ones who are behind it. You know, them and Quinta are like the ones who are steering the ship on this show. And it's really cool to hear how a massive show with that much momentum behind it at this point gets run in season 4, season 5. These guys are very good at what they do, you know? And this episode really shows that because it shows how much care and effort goes into these shows that you watch week to week on television. And I really think you'll like it. You can watch this show on Hulu, and I think it's on Disney Plus in some places. And it's very easy to track it down and find it. You can also rent it pretty much anywhere. But if you pull it up and sync it up, we'll get started. On the count of 3, we'll say go, and you hit play. 3, 2, 1, go! All right, here we are. We're watching the episode Karaoke of Abbott Elementary. I'm Patrick Schuma.
I'm Brian Lynch.
And our guests today are
Patrick Schuma.
Justin Halpern.
Look at that. So why did you guys pick this episode?
Oh, man. Well, I think season 4 has been a fan favorite for a lot of people, but this is maybe our favorite episode
I think
of
so.
Season 4 thus far. We haven't finished airing all of them, but this is a great one, written by Brittany Nichols and directed by Matthew Pexa, who is normally our first AD on the show. And this is his first time directing television, and he did a bang-up job, and it's just a damn funny episode. We don't get out of the school very much, but this one we end up spending quite a lot of time at a real location, which was a karaoke place in the San Gabriel Valley in Los Angeles, but I mean West Philly.
Wow, tons of extras, too. For a first-time director, that's a...
Yeah, it was a big one. It was a big one.
I mean, I've wanted Matt to direct since the beginning because he's just a wonderful communicator and so calm, and I knew he would just kill it. I knew he would do all of the prep work necessary to make this sing.
Was this the season where you guys... Because you also directed this season.
This season.
Yeah. I directed the episode Delhi.
Yeah.
Which was episode 6 of this season. Yeah.
Have you directed, Justin?
No, I have not.
Do you want to?
I do want to direct, but not an episode of Abbott.
Okay.
I think part of like the way that Pat and I split our time on Abbott is Pat is on set a lot, and I'm always in the writer's room, and I think that that is where I feel like I add most value to the show is in the writer's room.
Yeah. You can force people to listen to him.
That's right.
So you said you didn't want to direct Abbott. What do you want to direct?
I would love for Pat and I to direct a movie going forward, something
you want
like
to pitch
that.
us what you want to do?
Sure, it's Abbott.
Oh.
No.
But different cast.
Oh.
Yeah, an alternate version.
Abbott High School.
I also think there's a certain thing in episodic TV directing that is almost like it seems, at least to me, as like it more about understanding the patterns and rhythms of the show rather than setting them, you know? And I think when they're so well established like they are in our show, like we really want our directors to come in and work within those. And I know those rhythms, and so it felt like that, you know, I think that somebody else could take that opportunity and really like learn our rhythms and become a director we use often.
Yeah, so now that Justin has diminished the guest directing profession,
Not what I did.
I think this is actually revenge because at the end of directing my episode, Justin came down to set when I was being presented with a signed script and a slate and all of these gifts, and I did tell the crew this was the greatest working week of my life.
Oh,
He
no.
said,
Right as Justin
tearfully said, "This is the greatest working week of my life." Then looked me straight in the eyes as he said it.
and then mouthed, "Fuck you."
Yeah, yeah. By the way, not surprised.
So this
anyway.
is the location you guys were on. This is a
Yeah.
real
It's a
karaoke
real
bar?
location in the San Gabriel Valley in Los Angeles County. Hold on. It's about to happen, I think. Oh, hey, that's
Yeah, that's us.
me. Okay, sorry. Sorry for that pause.
It's okay. How much extra set dressing did you guys do, or is this just what it looks like?
It is not called Crazy Rick's.
Okay.
We brought in all of that branding.
Uh-huh.
No, that our art department and set deck, led by Michael Whetstone and Susan Wexler, they brought in so much stuff. So you know, they yeah, pretty much like the lighting, all of that is our crew. Yeah, quite a bit was augmented, I would say.
Who's the easiest character to write for each of you?
Well, I think Mr. Johnson, because it's like the Bane sort of paradigm in Harley Quinn, where like he's just kind of like he's lived like 100 lives.
Sure.
Anything Stan says is funny. The very first joke I got to write for him was in the pilot when it was the cutaway to him pointing at the whiteboard and saying, "This is who runs the world, kids," and it's Illuminati. And like that was like, I love Stan. He's a fellow St. Louisan. We bond over the Cardinals baseball, and yeah, I love the guy. So, but yeah, you can put anything in Stan's mouth, and it's just
Really
funny.
funny.
I kind of genuinely feel like I like being able to bounce in between all the characters. You know, I don't like. That's to me when a show is working the best is when you sort of don't have anyone who for more than an extended period of time, like you're excited for them all to bounce off each other. And you know, sometimes you'll be on a show and you'll be like, hey, 3 of the 5 of these performers are actually really good and 2 of them are fine.
Yeah.
And you can feel it in the writer's room because no one pitches jokes or anything for
Yeah,
those
what
2.
show would that be, though? Just
Well, just go look through my IMDb credits. You'll find them. But in this case, it's really like you can go to any character, and so then it becomes more about, well, what stories do we want to tell this week about whichever character and these character pairings? And so I genuinely like don't, and it's not even my sort of political answer. I generally don't have a favorite. I like writing
This
for all
does
of
feel
them.
like one of the rare shows where you could make a strong argument that every character on the show is the funniest character on the show.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't happen that often. But everyone is a fan favorite, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, casting this show was at the pilot stage was like shockingly easy. Like relatively speaking, pilots are always notoriously difficult to cast, and you know, we ended up getting our like the writer's first choice. For every role, there was like no pushback from the studio or network, and like, you know, I think the sort of exemplar of that is like Janelle James came in for Ava, and we thought for sure the studio and the network would say, hey, we want like a big name for this, and then Janelle walked in and blew everybody away, and at the time, like, she was a writer on Black Monday on Showtime, or it's Showtime, yeah, and she had, you know, been in the show, like she had played a character that she kind of wrote for herself as just a guest star, but that was kind of it.
I mean, I knew her in New York as a stand-up.
Yeah.
Like, she had done a bunch of shows for me in New York, and
Yeah.
like, then she showed up on this, and it was really like, holy shit, like, that's amazing, you know, that because that doesn't happen that often.
Now, when the show started, she was more of an obstacle for Janine.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then her humanity comes through, especially this season with the.
Oh my
love
God! Yeah,
interest.
this is like the season of Ava for sure.
Is that just because of what she brings to it? You guys realize that there's more to her.
Well, we had always kind of wanted that character to sort of. I don't know. Our feeling, or my feeling, is like there is humanity in most people, and and that sometimes it's harder to dig out than others.
Right.
But that always the villain in this show is the public school system and the politicians that sort of levy these
Right.
measures on our characters. And so for us, we always wanted to make sure that we were sort of drawing out some of that humanity as it goes. I think even in season 1, we have an episode where you kind of get to see a little bit of what her home life is like, without ever resetting her to this,
right.
or with resetting her back to who she was. But certainly this year, I think that we felt like, look, the audience knows that deep down in there is a lot of humanity, and so we can show it without people being worried that it's going to be this soft and gushy Ava for the rest of the series.
Yeah. But I also think like just in terms of Janelle's acting and her like confidence as an actor, there's been this like exponential growth over the season, over the whole series, and we have realized that she is so capable of doing kind of anything in the show, and like the dramatic stuff. Like we were tearing up on set. With the episode that I don't know when this podcast is going to air, but we already aired the episode where she gets let go at the end of the episode, and it was really, really moving. That was a thing where if you had asked me like at the beginning of the series, like, oh, are you going to have this like tearful goodbye from Ava, a few seasons down the road, I never would have foreseen it. But
yeah, she's a really gifted performer, and I think the fact that like if you come to one of our table reads, like it's rare to be on a show where the actors really give it everything at a table read. It just doesn't normally happen for many reasons, and I don't even blame them all the time for it. Most of the time I do, but all of our actors give everything at these table reads, and I think there's just like this level of performance that if you're not, it brings you to that level, and I think Janelle like accepted that challenge no problem, and just to see how much she is like excelled in everything we've given her. She's just truly a talented performer.
It's a very dumb question I'm about to ask. He's driving in this car. Clearly he's not driving in real life. Is he on a set right there?
This is a documentary, Patrick.
I mean,
although also Chris Fleming right there, by the way.
One of the best.
Yeah.
That is, yes, we are actually like 50 feet from the soundstage on which we shot that.
Do you guys
with a
go
wraparound video.
shoot that wraparound video? Or is that do you guys have stock wraparound video?
It was wraparound
for
green screen, and it was stock video, and it was a very painstaking process to find, like Quinta was actually heavily involved in it. In saying, hey, this footage is like passable for like West Philly. This footage is passable for the bridge between Philly and New Jersey, and yeah, so it was all very, very calculated. Yeah.
Also, Larry Owens.
Yep.
An insane live performer. If people have not seen him and they get the chance, just a powerhouse.
I don't love that they broke up because I love him so much. So could you make that happen?
Well, it was a big discussion, and I think like ultimately, and this I think for us, I think when you're making a sitcom, right, part of the comfort of a sitcom is like you come and you watch it and the characters are kind of the same every week, right? But for us, we feel like in order for the show to not hit that 4th, 5th season lull where you're like, what joke's going to come out of their mouth before they come, like there has to be some growth in these characters. We also started with half of our characters were in their mid-20s when they started in this job, and I think it's like it would be weird if they weren't having some sort of personal growth during this, and so part of that is getting out of really shitty relationships that you were in, or ones that weren't even that shitty but just didn't work.
Do you guys have an idea how long you want it to go? You don't have to give me an answer, but is there is there a number in your brain?
Whatever Quinta wants.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, she had a number in her brain,
yeah.
but I think that number has become malleable.
Yeah. Do you have an end game?
We actually do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
I mean, and by we I mean her.
Yeah.
Like Quinta, the thing that's so impressive to me about Quinta is that, like Pat was just talking about, like looking at the details of like what that wraparound was going to look like. Like
There's the bridge that we
Yeah.
were talking about. Yeah.
she really spends a ton of time on the little things.
Mm-hmm.
She will really go through all the little things to make sure they work, because I think rightfully she understands that all the little things put together is sort of the soup of the show. And if they don't work, then you just start to feel it. You can't even explain to yourself why. And so with that said, I think that she's such a sort of macro and micro thinker at the same time, that she's had ideas of where this would end and how it would end for, honestly, since the first season, I think.
That's cool.
That's right, in space.
You guys took a huge chance this season with, I guess, the end of last season with Gregory and Janine getting together.
Yeah.
And some shows don't make it past that. Like Jim and Pam kind of lost to, but it's better. Were you careful about? Were you worried about that, or?
Oh my God.
Well, I think we kind of took it as far as possible without getting them together.
Right.
This is
Sure.
Super worried.
Very
Oh, it's
funny.
so good.
This moment right here. Not to interrupt the Gregor and Janine at all, but we should actually get back to this, because I think this choice for this needle drop and Jacob going through a difficult time is actually inspired by something that happened to Justin, which we should jump back into that. But yeah, with the Janine and Gregory thing, I think it was like end of third season was like, I think the fans were gonna like riot if we didn't get them together at that point. But yeah, I mean, to me, they are such an interesting couple together, and like the strangeness of Gregory and all of his little idiosyncrasies. I don't know. There are a lot of unexpected things, I think, that are still to be found between those two, and yeah, I just like them together.
Yeah, and I think like Tyler especially, like, he wanted from the very start to play the idiosyncrasies of this guy. That this guy is not your normal TV leading man. To the point where we would get the note in the first season, this guy's too weird. People, like, women aren't going to, like, want him to be with her. And we're like, well, we think Tyler can pull this off.
Right.
And he can. And you talk about, like, a guy who thinks through every part of his performance before he does it and brings so much to the table when he's actually doing it. I mean, Tyler thinks through everything, and not in the, like, annoying, like, Jeremy Strong kind of way. In the, like, you don't see any of the work happening, and he's done all of the work.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, he's been doing it for,
So
20
long.
years.
yeah, and he's just such a fucking pro.
So good. And like to the point Justin brought up about like the idiosyncrasies that might be considered too strange or too unlikable. At one point, like, we have Gregory not liking pizza.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point it was Gregory doesn't like food. And that was based on a real thing, a real quality of Brian Rubenstein, one of our executive producers on the show and writers. Brian doesn't like food. He eats it because he has to. It's a pure sustenance thing. And we originally had that in the outline, and to see his face as we had the studio and network executives on speakerphone just eviscerating the qualities of a man who doesn't like
they
food.
said no woman would ever like a man who had this sort of who
He's
behaved this
unlovable.
way.
Oh,
Is he unlovable in real life?
Brian,
So lovable.
he's a teddy bear.
Don't send him chocolates, ladies, because
no,
you won't like it.
really
No,
do not.
is this the backlot?
Yes,
It looks like back here.
Yeah, this is Hennessy Street, known as the street where, let's see, Gizmo was purchased.
Wow.
The street that the fortune teller from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Purple Rain.
is located.
Is that the Purple Rain?
It is.
It might be.
Album
Yes,
cover?
Yeah.
it is.
Okay, so I mean that begs the question then. You guys this season did the Sunny crossover.
Yeah.
If you're so close to where Gizmo's getting bought, you might
You're
as
also
well.
not allowed to feed Mr. Johnson after midnight. So.
How was that? Was that stressful? Was that difficult?
The Sunny crossover?
Yeah, to make that work. Like
Feeding
'cause
Mr. Johnson after midnight. Yeah, it was. I mean, look, it was a huge puzzle. I think it's fair to say that neither Justin or I thought it was going to work initially when Quinta came back from like the upfronts, I want to say, and was like, "Hey, met Rob McElhenney backstage," and we should do an Abbott crossover. And we're like, okay. And then it was just willed into existence over like the period of a year. And I think it was just like every party was so game. And of course, it helps that we are a co-production between Warner Brothers and 20th Television. So 20th is the Disney component of that, and It's Always Sunny is FX, which is a Disney subsidiary, essentially. So that helped ease things along as well, I would say. But Rob and Charlie came to the writer's room early on in our pre-production for season 4, and we just started kind of shooting the shit about what characters we'd like to see paired up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think the first one we landed on was Mr. Johnson and Frank.
Sure.
So
That just
Those
felt so
scenes are
natural.
funny.
And we had this whole backstory with them that dealt with them going to high school together, and they both dated this character Dynasty, who's from It's Always Sunny.
Right.
And we, as much as we wanted to do that, we were like, we only have 21 and a half minutes to tell this story. So it ended up being that they met for the first time in that episode.
Insane.
Would you do it again?
I mean, I'd do a Sunny crossover again, I think, because we sort of have a template for it.
Mm-hmm.
Quinta's really good at, because that episode ended up, it was like right in the middle of our season is when you came back in January. It's the highest rated episode we did this year by far. It was like old timey sweeps numbers.
Wow.
And it's again like a testament to just she's such a viewer of television that she was just like, this is what I would want to see.
Yeah.
And she is very in tune to what the audience wants to see. So I always I think both he and I always tell her, like, look, this is what's possible, this is what's not possible. And then she's like, well, this is what I want to do. And she'll throw any big idea out at you, and it's great. Like, we want her to do that because it leads to things like that, which just keep the show fresh, keep the show going. So I think we'd both be down for it. It was obviously a humongous headache, not creatively, just lawyers.
Right.
Sure.
That part was really, really challenging.
Wow.
What was the biggest hurdle there?
Honestly, scheduling.
Yeah.
That was huge. I mean, that led to it also led to some great stuff, like the reason that Glenn Howerton ends up just walking behind the camera and says the thing about, I know a lot about cameras and consent, I'm not down with this, is literally because Glenn was doing a show, Sirens, for Netflix in New York and flew in for 6 hours to shoot out his side. Now, again, there's a part B to this crossover, which is the It's Always Sunny episode that has not aired yet, and Glenn is all over that. But that was the reason that we had to make that work, and I think we made the best with his schedule, and I think it worked out quite well. It made a lot of sense for the character. But it was the schedules of everybody, because it was also their writer's room was starting up soon after we first met up with Glenn and Charlie and Rob, and they initially, I think they were going to make the crossover episode their season premiere. I don't know if it ended up that way, but they were like, oh, we need beats very quickly from you guys. Now, to their credit, we sent them beats and they were like, great. And they never gave us any feedback. The only tweaks that they ever made, I think they did a quick little dialogue pass on their characters.
On a couple of just so it was consistent with what they were going to do in their episode and also with their characters. And same, we gave them a couple little tiny dialogue tweaks, and that was it. But it's always, you forget when you're a writer and you work with other writers, how the process can be nice. Right. It doesn't have to be it is truly sometimes when you work with an executive, some are, there are plenty of good ones, but the bad ones are and now I'm going to ham fist this thing, even though I don't know shit about writing.
Right.
And so when you're working with other writers, it's oh yeah, it can be this pleasant experience.
And if you can work with writers who are on their 17th season of their show and also own a soccer team in England, that's usually the way to go.
Yes.
So that was karaoke.
Thank
Should
you
we
guys.
start talking about karaoke? Just replay it?
What are your favorite things in that episode that we might have missed? Is there anything that you guys...
Oh, well, okay, back to the thing I was talking about before. My favorite moment is Jacob covering Papa Roach, Last Resort, which is inspired heavily by something that happened to Justin back in his college days, or soon thereafter?
College. No, college.
Would
I was
you tell us that story?
The very brief version is I was dating this woman. I was like 19 or 20. I was dating this woman I thought exclusively.
Oh, no.
But apparently not. And then one morning, I was at her. I'd stay the night at her house. In the morning at like 6 a.m., she was like, fuck. Go sleep on the couch. Go get on the couch. I'm totally asleep. I'm like, why? She's like, my boyfriend's coming into the
Oh no.
into my apartment. And I'm like, what? And so I'm thinking, somebody's gonna come into this room and beat the shit out of me, basically. So I go on the couch and try to pretend like that's where I had been sleeping the whole night with no blanket or anything, just like on the couch. And then I close
massive erection.
and then I closed my eyes because I was like, well, no one would beat the shit out of a sleeping person.
Sure.
So I hear the truck, turned off. And
it was a truck.
It was a truck outside. Yeah,
Of course it was. Yeah.
It was actually Gravedigger.
The door. It honestly looked like it, but the door opens and I hear the door open and I just hear somebody go, "Nice, really fucking nice," and then he starts crying, and then they go into another room and they start yelling at each other for like 20 minutes. Meanwhile, I'm still on the couch pretending to be asleep, and then he shouts at her, "Well, fuck you then," and then walks out, and I hear him slam the door, and then he gets into his car, and the instant he turns in the ignition,
now it's a car.
Cut my life into pieces.
Oh, no.
Papa Roach was playing the instant he turned on his truck. Sorry, gets into his truck and then spins out of the gravel driveway and goes. And it was just like, I was like, this is an incredible moment.
Wow.
That he had Papa Roach.
Justin got out
He
his
had it queued
journal.
up to be
Ready
angry,
to go.
too.
Yeah, it was really something.
Did you see the girl ever again? Like, did you date her still?
For like 5 more months.
Sure.
In a bad relationship.
Yeah.
guess it's
College
a little-
is fun.
It's a little better that you were both mad at her. You
That's-
and the guy.
that's
You know what I
true.
mean? Like it's
I
a
didn't
little
try
bit
to. I didn't try to bridge that with he and I, but I love the moment, and this is a good example of like why like Pat and I splitting duties a lot is because when he's on set and doing stuff, like he can help like those scenes that if they're not working or if there's an opportunity to plus it or like you find these little moments that. And so this moment when Chris Fleming, who is an incredible stand-up comedian, so funny, is in the he's one of the people that Gregory's driving for a lift, and he's like being a weirdo and taking the pictures. He said, "What's he say at the very end of the scene, Pat?"
I actually can't remember.
Oh, he has this one creepy
I know.
line.
He's like, it's all happening. That's what
he
he
goes,
said.
"It's all happening" as he takes his picture, which was not in the script.
Uh-huh.
It was not in the pages we sent down.
Right.
But like with like Brittany and Pat and just having like funny people on set who can see a moment
Right.
and be like, hey, this is gonna be, and it ended up being one of my favorite moments in the show, and was nothing that we.
I fully credit Brittany with that because I wasn't there for that moment, but also we got pushback from the network on keeping that moment, and to their credit, we were just like, we really like it, we want to keep it, and I guess it's season 4. They're like, well, okay, like
Right.
You guys
what was the pushback on it?
that it was too dark.
Oh,
Like,
interesting.
yeah. Like they actually worried for Gregory's life.
Oh, wow.
I was like, well, I don't know. It's an ABC sitcom. We probably won't murder Gregory this episode.
What a twist, though.
And then maybe a finale.
Yeah. That's the end game.
Wait, I have one more question. Is it okay, even though this episode's long over?
Yeah.
Do you guys have rules about the documentary crew? Like in terms
Yes.
of what can you share?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first off, and credit where credit's due, Randall Einhorn, who is our an executive producer on the show, our producing director on the show, and directed the pilot. He is the one who established the sort of theory behind the aesthetic of the show and essentially how the production works. And he came in. He's someone who he was the original DP on The Office.
Mm-hmm.
He prior to that came from the world of like Survivor and Amazing Race, like reality competition stuff. He is a documentary filmmaker through and through, as well as being just a director of an incredibly talented director of scripted stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like, I want to treat this like for real, like it's a documentary. Like we're gonna shoot with 3 cameras at all times. We're never gonna shoot facing one way, turn around, relight, shoot the other way. We're just going to shoot everything in one fell swoop. With these particular cameras, these zoom lenses, and like anything that a documentary crew couldn't do, we're not going to do.
Wow.
So we've only broken that rule like 2 or 3 times. You'd never really notice. The first example I could think of that is if you watch very carefully in the pilot, which we shot in a real location and have since recreated all the sets from in series. We have a oneer, so it's this one take shot pulling Janine and Jacob from the first floor to the second floor and into the teacher's lounge. And Jacob is talking about like white fragility and all this stuff, and Janine calls him Ta-Nehisi quotes. And the way that was blocked, when she says that line, the camera is behind her over her shoulder and she's facing Jacob, who's in the background. And, Justin and I have done enough pilots where we're like, okay, we know that the studio is going to ask to see Janine's face when she says that. So before we moved on, I grabbed Randall and I was like, can we get coverage on the other side of Janine's face? He's like, well, you can't. I'm like, well, why can't? I mean, you can. He's like, but you can't because then we would see the other we'd be pointing like down the barrel of the other camera. And I was like, just this once, bear with me. They're going to ask for it, like when we give him the cut of the pilot. And so, begrudgingly, to his credit, he did that. And sure enough, they asked for it.
Oh, wow.
And so it is in the cut like that. And so that's one of those ones that like kind of breaks the reality of a documentary crew. But we do it so few and far between. I mean, we did stuff where like Randall like threw the camera over his shoulder and like threw his body through the little kitchen window from the the back kitchen into the gym to get in there because the doors were locked in the story, and I'm pretty sure he injured himself. But it was all for that verisimilitude of a documentary.
And within the writers' room too, I think like Brittany Nichols, who we mentioned before, Brittany is very much like she will like also help remind us and like be like, hey, how would we get this shot?
Right. Yeah.
Not trying to be like a naysayer to what we're doing, but just like, hey, let's think of a way to do it.
Right.
If we're
Someone's
got to
think about this.
Someone has to do it.
Yeah.
And you also notice like when there's really intimate scenes happening, we go real long lens and the camera's way far away from the actors, or we'll shoot through closed doors.
Yeah.
And that's why we had our production designers put the little windows in the doors, like specifically so we could do that kind of stuff. Or we have, the way we built our sets give us little pockets that we can kind of sneak back into for those intimate moments. Because we would never, in reality, you would, the people that you are filming would never really allow you to be up in their business.
That's also why there's not a lot of hardcore like sex on the show.
That's right.
It's the only reason.
Those scenes are on the Blu-ray.
We've tried to figure it out, but we just haven't been able to.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for doing this. We appreciate it.
Thanks for
Yeah,
having
this was
us.
a blast.
Yeah. We'll do it again.
Well,
That sounds good.
Okay. Bye, guys.
bye.
Good episode. A lot of funny people in this show. Not a hot take, I don't think. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. But it's a lot of people who have been working for so long. And Janelle James used to do a lot of stand-up in New York, and I used to book her for shows all the time out there. And then she got cast on this, and it was rad because she was someone who was like, toiling away in the stand-up world for so long and in the writers' rooms for so long, and getting to see her have her moment in the sun that is going to continue for a very long time is so cool. I hope you guys like the episode. Come back next week. We have a really fun one. Brian's not here, so we're not going to do the whole fake Cameron Crowe thing. Although, wouldn't this be a fun week if next week we came back and Cameron Crowe was here? Anyways, hope you liked it. I'll talk to you soon. Love you. Bye. Thanks for listening to Hey That's Me, a commentary podcast. This has been a That Was Just So Funny production. Your hosts have been Brian Lynch and Patrick Hotner. Music was by Alex Peabody, and our art was by Abigail Noy. You can find out more about the show by going to HeyThat'sMePod.com and checking out our Patreon at patreon.com/commentary. The show was recorded by Stephen Ray Morris. If you've enjoyed the show, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Please tell your friends about this show.